Okay, so it is currently Sunday, the 25th of April. It is the Sunday after the Shadow and Bone show has come out, and while I'm not going to talk about it in this video, I will just say I absolutely loved it. I've watched it twice now. It came out on Friday, it's now Sunday. I've already watched it twice. I think that says enough. If you would like me to talk about my thoughts more on the show, I could do that in another video. I'd be happy to. But now that I've watched the show, I am desperate to carry on with my reread of the GRISHAVERSE series. I didn't get a chance to read Six of Crows or the Grisha trilogy before the show came out, which I'm actually okay with. I think I am actually kind of glad that I didn't reread them before the show came out. So I only ended up rereading King of Scars and then reading Rule of Wolves before the show came out. The 24-hour readathon wasn't really a 24-hour readathon, but that's okay. I'm kind of going to do like a 24-hour readathon, but like just me, and just over the next 24 hours where I go ahead and try and reread Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I was thinking of rereading the Grisha trilogy before going on and rereading this duology, like going chronologically, but I started with King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. We're kind of already going backwards through the whole GRISHAVERSE books series, so I thought I may as well just go back to the duology before King of Scars, and that is Six of Crows. So I'm just gonna bring you guys along with me. Let's see how this goes. I wish I had not a collector's edition of this series, because I'm like rereading this. I'm on page 50 and I would love a copy that I could just like mark up. Like I want to put in like sticky tabs, I want to underline stuff, but I would not do that to my collector's edition of the series, and I'm just sad. I'm definitely one of those people who don't understand like how people can have more than one copy of a book, but now I'm like, maybe I'm gonna go ahead and buy a different edition of the Six of Crows series so I can mark it up, and because I love these books so much, and there are so many lines already that I want to mark, but I can't. It's so frustrating.
Which of these heroes that have betrayed him or tried to kill him he goes after first.
Yeah, but like, why do I feel like I'm getting through this so quickly? I'm almost on page 200. What? I feel kind of bad though, because I haven't really been giving you guys updates because I have no thoughts. No thoughts that I kind of like. I've read this so many times that this is just like reminiscing, full nostalgia, kind of just like guilty pleasure reading right now. I love these characters so much. I think it's always interesting reading the start of Six of Crows for me, because I think in my mind, when I think back on this duology, I always think of like how good all the characters are together, but it is always like, it always throws me when I start like Six of Crows and they all are like not a group and they all kind of hate each other. I'm always like, excuse me? Like, it's almost like my brain just like forgets the whole start of Six of Crows. So anyway, read all the parts where they're all together now, they're all on the ship, they're all heading to Fjorden, the ice court. The plan is in motion, everything's kind of getting exciting. I mean, like, not really, but like, it's getting exciting. I'm up to part 3. I'm pretty sure part 3 is good. Part 4 is better, but part 3 is still good. It's like rereading them, it's such a good experience knowing like how it all ends, ignoring the ending of Crooked Kingdom. I'm just talking about Six of Crows here. It's just such a good, these books just always make me feel so happy, except for Crooked Kingdom, but like Six of Crows always makes me feel really happy. I'm just such a sucker for the relationship dynamic where the guy just absolutely worships everything that the girl does, and I know I know Matthias like hates Nina, but he like loves her so much. Like when he's like he could just eat all day because she savors everything, and like everything she does is like so hot. Get you a man who worships you, literally. I love them so much. I forgot that Kaz like almost throws the mission off because he thinks that Pekka is in like the ice cold prison, and he like tries to find him, and I forget, I'm pretty sure this is how Nina ends up. Honestly, like the little details of the plot I always forget them. I can never remember them, so I like read the story again and I'm like, whoa, that's how it happened. I cannot believe Mr. Kazbreaker himself fucked up so royally. My goodness, I just read the part where he was looking in the cells for Pekka, and I was just like, oh my god, this is how it all goes wrong. Oh my god, it's like 9:45. I keep getting distracted by TikTok, but I'm almost 400. I've like got that much left. I'm on page 380. I just need to stop watching TikToks and finish this. Okay, listen, the like whole thing about them breaking into the ice court, like the whole thing about the ice court is that it's like an impossible structure, and like when they're breaking in, Nina says like several times that she's like, this, a Grisha had to make this, like there's no way that a man could have built the like ice court. Absolutely, it was magically made. It's never been confirmed in any of the series. Like, maybe it's just like, maybe Miss Lee Bardugo is like, yeah, they'll know that it's Grisha made. I want to know. Tell me the story of how the ice court was made, please. We have 3 series in the GRISHAVERSE and it hasn't been. Just a simple yes. Just a yes, this was Grisha made on the page, I will take it. Would be interested in a little bit more maybe, because that could maybe make Fjorda even a little bit more interesting. How did I forget that Six of Crows ends with Nej getting captured? How could I forget that I just read, she's gone, and I like, now I'm remembering the start of Crooked Kingdom, they have to save an edge from Van Eyck, Wyland's dad. How did I forget that? Oh my god. I feel so stupid. But anyway, I'm almost done with Six of Crows. I finished. Look. That's it. Done. That took me an hour to read the last like 100 and so pages of that. It is now almost 11. I'm going to move straight on to Crooked Kingdom. I don't know how much of Crooked Kingdom I want to read tonight, because I know the end of Crooked Kingdom kills me every time. Don't know if I want to cry before going to sleep, but also don't know if I want to start tomorrow off with a mental breakdown. So I think I'll just read for as long as I can. Okay, listen, while the black and gold of Crooked Kingdom sends me every time, and like the black sprayed edges, like I love this minimal look more than I love like the red, just like the yellow map, it just makes me think someone pissed on the pages and then they still sold the book. It just doesn't look, I'm sorry, the yellow is ugly. If they'd made it like a brown, like a, you know, like the, like, oh my god, coffee stained map vibes, that would have been stunning. But they tried to match the gold, and it's just not doing it for me, if I'm being entirely honest. Okay, I'm actually so tired. It's like midnight. I'm only on page 58, but I think that's gonna be me for tonight. Hang on, I think I put my... I swear I put my... I did, yeah. Hang on, I'm just getting my bookmark out. Ooh. That's me for tonight. We finished Six of Crows. Got a little bit of the way through Crooked Kingdom. We'll finish this bad boy tomorrow. If I look tired, it's because I am. Mind your business. It's 9 a.m. I slept for so long. I haven't been sleeping very well lately. I feel like I say this in all of my videos because it's true. I just haven't. But it's 9 a.m. I wasn't gonna do any reading this morning because like I have other stuff to do. But I genuinely think the go is read like half of Crooked Kingdom this morning and then read, like, finish it tonight. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I just woke up. Hi, it's 9 a.m. I'm gonna start reading. So I was thinking about this last night. I was trying to think, like, I was saying to myself, well, I was talking to someone about Six of Crows, and I was like, yeah, Six of Crows is like a really fast-paced book, like action, 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 you know, like you read it and you're not going to be bored. But when I think about it, Leigh Bardugo's writing style is very kind of like explanatory. Like a lot of Six of Crows is like explaining the plans, explaining how things are going to work, and like of course it's exciting because it's a big heist, and like I don't think she does it in like a tell not show kind of way. Like there's an equal amount of show and tell, but I just like, I wonder if anyone else has read these and not found them like super fast paced and like super interesting, because I find these books to be like super fast paced kind of page turners, and I think it's kind of because you love the characters but also because of her writing. So I didn't vlog the end of me reading Crooked Kingdom. All you need to know is that I still loved it. Absolute 5 out of 5. Cried at the end. Always have. Always will. I genuinely think Crooked Kingdom is better than Six of Crows. Potentially a hot take. I don't know. Do you guys prefer Six of Crows to Crooked Kingdom or Crooked Kingdom to Six of Crows? Let me know. So I was waiting for some book mail because I ordered the Shadow and Bone trilogy. This looks kind of too small to be it though. So I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna see if it's the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but it might not be. So let's just see. That's not, yep. Oh, shouldn't cut towards yourselves, but you know what? I'm stupid, and these are baby knives, so maybe it is. I'm actually so surprised because this box is so tiny. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Are they all? This one feels like shiny. Oh no, that one feels a little bit shiny. Got the GRISHAVERSE trilogy. Stunning. I guess I can start reading these now. So I thought actually before I start rereading Shadow and Bone and the other two books in the trilogy, it could be kind of interesting to just discuss. It's been like, I think I first read this for the first time like 3 years ago. I want to say, I think it was like 2019, maybe 2018. And I think I gave them generally good ratings, but I didn't love them. I thought Alina was boring. I thought Mal was stupid. and just the worst. I loved the Duckling. I thought he was really, really interesting. I can't remember if I like shipped him with Alina. I just remember thinking he was hot and that their scenes together had a million times more chemistry than any scene Alina and Mal had together. Mal and Alina were just like so dry. I just was so bored by them. I remember absolutely loving Jenya and David, and that is absolutely not going to change in the slightest. I remember all of the scenes with Nikolai, because he's one of my all-time favorite fictional characters. Straight up love that man's. Cannot wait to meet him in book 2 again. I also remember, just because I have at this point read King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, I remember thinking absolutely nothing of Zoya, and I remember being so shocked when King of Scars came out and Zoya was like mentioned in the blurb. I was like, oh, she was so irrelevant. How is she going to be made interesting? So interested to see if I still think that when I read that this time. Very interested. I'm just, not that Mal is the worst, but I don't want to like him. Like, liking Mal wouldn't be the worst thing to come out of this reread. I just, having watched the show and also having read like Six of Crows and the King of Scars duology, currently my whole thing is that Alina absolutely should have ended up single, or if anything with a woman, because men just treat, like, from what I can remember, men just treat her terribly in this series, and I'm just sick of women being treated horribly by men and then still loving them. Oh my god, it's stupid. So interested to see if my reread of this changes that opinion, that I think Alina should have ended up single. I didn't hate these books. I definitely didn't love them though. Very average, very unimpressive. I think I recently said to someone that if the Shadow and Bone trilogy was like the first Leigh Bardugo book I'd ever read, I would not have finished it. I would not have carried on reading it. I probably wouldn't have finished the series. I probably just would have DNF'd it, because I don't remember being impressed by this. So now that I've watched the show and have gone and read all the other books in the GRISHAVERSE, very interested to see my feelings coming back to this. Okay, it's like midnight and I probably look really tired, but I'm about halfway through Shadow and Bone. I just hit myself in the head with this book. Ow. Halfway through, and this is actually a lot better than I remember it being. I think the first time I read this, I distinctly remember thinking that this was just like not like Leigh Bardugo's writing style at all. I remember thinking it was like not as good as her other stuff. It just wasn't like, it was something like, maybe it was because it was her first book, it just wasn't as good. It's definitely like as good as all her other stuff. I think what threw me the first time is the fact that this is just like, it's first person and solely from Alina's point of view, whereas all of Leigh Bardugo's other stuff are multiple POVs. So it's not that it's bad, it's just a bit different. And I think when I read this the first time and I thought that Alina was like boring and not as great as Leigh Bardugo's other characters, I didn't take into account the fact that this is first person and we are only getting Alina's point of view. Like in Six of Crows and King of Scars and all that, it's multiple third person, and so you get to see other characters' opinions on the other characters, and I think that's interesting, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the characters are just like more developed. It's just more interesting to read. This is just like a very close look at Alina as a character, and I am kind of liking her. I think it helps that I've watched the show, and so I'm just picturing Jessie May Lee, the most stunning human being ever, being the star of this book. But yeah, we're about halfway through. Like, what stuff has happened, but also it definitely feels slow in the sense that like I just know that a lot more is going to be happening in like the second half of this book. Also, can I just say how fucking annoying it is reading this first half of this book. Alina's all like, wow, I'm a Grisha, I have all this really like amazing power, and I'm like being taken to like a literal palace, and I'm like being shown all this like amazing stuff, and I'm around all these really cool powerful people, but I can't stop thinking about Mal. Ooh. And like, I get it, they're best friends. I just hate how he's a love interest. I hate it so much. I don't care about him. He's a little ratty 17-year-old boy. I hate how he's like ruining this for her, and he's not even with her. I like, it's literally so frustrating to read. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk about that too much. I'm halfway through. I'm not gonna read any more tonight, I don't think, but I'll probably finish this tomorrow, and I'm excited to read the second half of this book and see all the exciting stuff that happens. I know that the reveal that like the Darkling isn't who he seems is coming up soon. I'm excited for that. I will say though, I think I'm mostly just excited to get to Siege and Storm, so I can meet Nikolai, my king. I love him. I cannot wait for him to be in the series. He is just the best. So I finished reading Shadow and Bone. I've now started Siege and Storm. I'm only like 30 pages in though. But final thoughts about Shadow and Bone. I really liked it. Like, a solid 4-star read, I think, for me. I loved how short it was. There are just sirens going on in the background. I don't know how. Anyway, like, a lot of YA fantasy is just so necessarily long, and this was short and sweet and to the point and stunning, really, if I'm being honest. Like, solid. I think I gave it a decent rating, like, when I first read it, but, like, solid 4-star read. Like, no new feelings or thoughts or anything in particular. Potentially the only, like, different opinion I had reading it this time around was that I didn't hate Mal all that much. He is annoying, but especially in the second half of the book, where him and Alina are like trying to find the stag and it's just the two of them, fully in my like heart and soul believes that they should just be friends and not love interests. It just feels, I don't know, I don't buy their like romantic relationship, but I like one of the most solid friendships in literature. Like, if they were just friends, such a good friendship. Romance, not so much. Moving on to Siege and Storm now. This one definitely, I think, starts off a lot, like, more quickly. That felt like a bad sentence, but, like, we're kind of straight into the action in this one. Like, I'm not even on page 30, and they're already on the ship, Nikolai's ship, like, the ship where they meet Nikolai. I mean, they don't know that it's Nikolai. Nikolai isn't introduced, I think, until, like, way later, but, like, I know it's Nikolai's ship, and I love him. Like, you can see that little blue sticky note is for him, his first appearance. This morning I said to my boyfriend that I think Genya is like my favorite from the series, but maybe that's a lie. I think it's probably, if I'm being honest, it's probably Nikolai and Genya. They have my whole heart. I love them both so much. Also, I will like tell you guys what my sticky tab coloring, what my order is for them. Not right now though. We'll discuss it maybe once I finish like all of the books. I'll go through and tell you which color means what. But yeah, on to Siege and Storm. I'm very excited. I don't remember much of what happens in this one. Like, plot-wise, I know it's all about the sea snakey, but like I don't remember what like happens. So very interested to see what happens, basically, in this one. Besties, if I'm being honest, I haven't done any reading at all this week. But it's Saturday now, and I am literally determined to finish Siege and Storm this weekend, and also Ruin and Rising. I think I started this last weekend and I only got to page 56, so I've got a ways to go until this is done, but I think I can finish this today. It's currently like 2 p.m. and Ruin and Rising, hopefully I can just tackle her tomorrow, one go, finish this reread. Something that I think I remember about Siege and Storm when I read it the first time, I think I remember just being like so shocked at how quickly Alina gets the Sea Whip, like the second amplifier. Spoiler, low-key, but like I just remember that whole part happening like so quickly. Like they're on the ocean, she gets the second amplifier within the first 100 pages, and now they're already talking about the bird, like the firebird, the third amplifier, and I'm just kind of like, it's moving a bit fast, isn't it? But I know that they don't get the third amplifier until the third book. We've still got like essentially 2 whole books to go. I'm like, what happens in between? I know some of what happens, but like, what happens in between? Okay, besties, I'm almost done with Siege and Storm, and I marked a lot of stuff, but I don't have many thoughts, if I'm being entirely honest. Something I think I picked up on the first time that I read this as well, a lot happens in the first like 100 pages, and then everything else after that is kind of just very slow build up, set up for the third book. And not that it's necessarily bad, it's not that nothing, it's like stuff is happening, it's just not as exciting as the first 100 pages, it's just not as fun. And like, I guess there are interesting like plot and character developments, it's just not as fun though. I will also say the lack of Darkling in this book is making me sad. He's such a fun character, he's so interesting. And it's not like he is the only interesting character in this series. Really liking Alina this time around, and she is very interesting in this book. I do think she goes through a lot, and it's interesting to see her development. A lot of stuff that I didn't pick up on the first time that I was reading this. Nikolai, obviously, King, love him, he's interesting. But, something I read not too long ago, and I did mark it down. Everyone is just so interested in who Alina's fucking. Like, they're like, oh my god, you slept with the Darkling. Oh my god, you're gonna sleep with Nikolai the King. Oh my god, you're sleeping with Mal. Like, give this girl a break. If that is not the most blatant commentary on sexism and misogyny in our society, I don't know what is. Like, I get it, but it is just so frustrating to read. At the moment, I'm over it. I'm over it. But anyway, besties, almost done. I'm gonna crack on, I'm gonna finish this. I understand that I probably have a fair few followers who like Mal and who probably ship Mal and Alina, and no hate. But I do hate how Mal is being such a little whiny bitch. Like, I'm sorry, the fact that he like went up to Alina and he was like, wow, you're changing, and probably not for the better. And the very next day she goes to David and she's like, is there any way that I can get rid of my power? Like, he makes her feel guilty for being strong and powerful. Also, like, this whole book, their relationship has just been getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And very interested to see how it's fixed by the end of Ronin Rising, because currently at the way that it's going, I'm like, this is doomed. How are we supposed to root for them at this current point in time? Alina has too much going on. She can't like give Mal what he wants, which really all he wants is just to spend time with Alina and just live a normal life with her. Alina will never be able to give that to him because she's so powerful. And Mal has like, yeah, he's followed her everywhere, whatever, he's in her service or whatever, but he obviously doesn't like it. He obviously is not enjoying himself. They're just like, they're so mismatched. They just don't work. I don't see it. I don't. Okay, like, I know now that Rule of Wolves has like come out, the King of Scars duologies, and like Nikolai has his own whole story, like, I know Nikolai has his own life, but like this interaction right here, if this is not the kind of like banter, frenemies to lovers that everyone in the book community froths over, why do more people not like the idea of Nikolai and Alina being together? Like, to me, I definitely, like, I absolutely always have thought that Alina should just end up alone, queen. But this second reread, I am really shipping her and Nikolai hard. Like, hard, like, oh my god, I think they would be so good together. And I'm low-key sad we never get to see them, like, we never ever get to see that. No, this This makes me feel physically ill. Physically ill. I want to vomit. Oh my god, Mal, he's just a teenage boy. He's so good for Alina. He's just frustrated. Are you kidding me? Not that, like, him and Alina are exclusively, like, dating, but that is a shitty thing to do. Oh, like, in my mind, I'm like, wow, like, the feeling I have in my gut right now, it feels like he's cheating on her. This is absolutely disgusting. Disgusting behavior. Ew! Literally, this boy has the chance to love the most powerful woman in the world, and he sulks and goes after someone else. I cannot with this boy. This is literally, I literally do not care about their teenage lovers' quarrels. I don't give a shit. Like, the fact that Mal literally is throwing a hissy because Alina is more powerful than him, and he's like, I'm not special. Oh my god. Boo-hoo. Who cares? Grow up. Alina's, like, loves you. She loves you. And that's, like, that is really all you should need. But no, your weak little frail man ego needs to feel special. Oh my god, I literally cannot with this. I'm so, I remember why I hate Mal so much. It's this part of Siege and Storm that made me despise him. I despise this boy. No. Okay, and, like, I will be fair, I like, his whole thing is that, like, a few chapters ago, Mal goes to kiss Alina, and she flinches from him because she's been, like, having visions of the Darkling, and, like, right before her and Mal kissed, the Darkling was, like, behind Mal's shoulder, and she freaked out. So, but she hasn't told Mal about, like, the fact that she sees the Darkling, and she's going to tell him now. Absolutely, she should have told him sooner than now. Absolutely. But just, I'm sorry, he's just, he made me people's arguments in defense of Mal is that he's just a teenage boy, and he didn't ask for any of this, and, like, he just loves Alina. Alina didn't ask for any of this either. She loves Mal, but she's not fucking throwing hissy fits, is she? Like, people try to defend Mal, you know? He's just a teenage boy, he just wants to love Alina. Oh my god, but, like, once she becomes the Sun Summoner, it's too complicated. He just wants, like, his simple little teenage love, But no, all of Mal's issues do not come from everything that is happening to them because of Alina being the Sun Summoner. His issues are because he's a selfish prick. It all comes down to his character. He's just an asshole. I'm sorry. But he's such a dick. And before y'all start going like, Alina could have been nicer to him, Alina could have been nicer to him, but also she is, like, the most powerful being on this planet. She is trying to save a whole entire country and run an army, which she's never done before, so she's trying to learn how to run an army, save a country, control her incredibly strong powers, not give in to the Darkling. I'm sorry, she's just got some stuff going on that I think potentially could be an excuse for her not running after Mal and, you know, soothing his fucking inflated ego every time he cries about them not spending time together. I'm sorry. Like, Mal is literally Gale from the Hunger Games in the second book, Catching Fire, when Katniss comes back from the Hunger Games and is traumatized and dealing with what she just went through in the Hunger Games, and Gale gets all sad because she had to fake a relationship with Peter to survive, and she's dealing with trauma, so she doesn't want to just, like, make out with him now that she's home. And he just throws hissy fits all the time. And, like, that is exactly what Mal is doing. I'm sorry. If you like Mal and you don't like Gale, how does that work? They are the exact same character. Anyway, my blood is literally boiling over how much I hate this stupid little rat boy, but I'm gonna keep reading. Now I just needed to vent. What a stunning last line. that is incredible. Anyway, that is Siege and Storm. Done. Okay, so I think, apart from the last update where I was just yelling about Mal, I think the last thing I said was that this book was going a little bit slowly. And, like, I knew it was coming, but the ending of this book is so savage. Like, it is so, oh my god, Leigh Bardugo did not hold back. She did not hold back. She really went all out with the ending of this book. Like, the ending makes up almost for, like, how boring most of the middle part of this book is. I, like, definitely just, this isn't as fun. This is, like, a 3-star book. Like, I love the start, and the ending is really, really good in, like, the worst possible way. But, like, the middle is just so bleh, and I hate that it's literally just, like, let's watch Mal and Alina's relationship deteriorate. That is the middle of this book. And then the start is, like, the whole finding the other amplifier, fighting against the Darkling, and the end is also fighting... Maybe I just like the parts with the Darkling in it. He's just so interesting, guys, okay? He's just good. He's so good at being evil, and he makes shit interesting. So yeah, I think this is just going to be a 3-star from me. Something I didn't expect coming out of this reread was for me to fall in love with Tolya and Tamar. I probably am just butchering their names. I mean, I thought Genya was Genya until I watched the show, and they were like, Genya, and I was like, excuse me? Who's Genya? I only know Genya. So I am almost certainly saying Tolya and Tamar wrong, but, like, oh my god, how did I not love them the first time that I read this? Like, the very first scene that they're in, when Tolya is like, no, Tolya, his name's Tolya, my bad. Tolya's like, we'll see who has the stronger heart. Hot. Both of them are so hot. And now that I, like, am in love with them, I kind of want to go and reread the King of Scars duology, because they're in that, and I'm like, wow, maybe I should reread that so I can appreciate them more in that duology. I'm not going to, but I want to. I don't know if I said before I, like, started reading Shadow and Bone, but I think I said that I was worried that during this reread of the series, I would kind of start to like Mal. It's safe to say I don't love him at all. Oh no, I don't like this boy. Like, he's not the worst, but I don't like him. So, my worries about that were for nothing. Still hate Mal. Almost cried at the end because of Genya and David. Oh my god, reading about them is painful. I love them both so much. And it hurts. It hurts. I'm in pain reading about them because of how much I love them. And this is, like, the end of the book where Genya gets hurt by the Darkling. And David they're just so cute. Anyway, the ending is, like, a little whack. If you ask me, kind of forgot exactly how it ended. I did know that Ruin and Rising started with them, like, underground, though. So, anyway, now that I've finished that, on to Ruin and Rising. So, before I start Ruin and Rising, I thought I would just quickly go through and explain my sticky tab system for the Shadow and Bone trilogy for you guys. Honestly, it's different for every single book, but for Shadow and Bone, basically, the yellow is for general plot points that happen for Shadow and Bone. I matched it to the spine. The dark purple is for the Darkling. The pink tabs are for Alina. And I don't know if you can really see, but, like, the light purple for my other favorite characters, Genya and David. And then for Siege and Storm, the pink, the dark purple, and the light purple are all the same colors. So pink for Alina, dark purple for the Darkling, light purple for Genya and David. The blue is for Nikolai, my fave, my king, we stan. Yellow is for Tolya and Tamar. They are also stunning. I love both of them so much. And the green this time is for general plot points because that matches the spine. And then going into Ruin and Rising, I'm going to keep the same color system for all of the characters, and I'm going to use orange for plot to match the spine. There you go. Besties, not to say that I'm currently kind of bored with Ruin and Rising, but maybe I am. I'm like 179 pages into Ruin and Rising, and like nothing, okay, still love this world, still love this, like these characters, the story, whatever it's all, like the story, I will say at the start of this, is feeling to me like it's going a little bit slowly. I think it could have been picked up a little bit. Why is my hair doing that? I just kind of, anyway. But like if I'm being entirely honest, I just don't think I'm in the mood for this kind of like YA fantasy kind of story. I'm just not really feeling it, and I would rather read something else, but that's fine. I still really like this. It's just like I'm reading it at a time when I don't want to be reading it. I basically read these like 170 pages today. I might read a little bit more tonight. I'm gonna keep reading this even though I'm not exactly like in the mood for this. Because I do just want to like finish rereading this series, move on to bigger and better things. What are you doing? You waving or are you holding the book?
I was trying to find your face.
But there's an update. I feel like I haven't done many Ruin and Rising updates. So, okay, so for being 100% honest, I have no idea when I last did any reading for this vlog whatsoever, but I'm about halfway through Ruin and Rising, and I really want to finish this like today because I wanted to post this vlog tomorrow. So, basically I've read all of the boring parts of Ruin and Rising. Like this has to be all of the boring parts because it's very much all like they're setting up for the big final showdown between Alina and the Darkling. And like I'm not saying nothing interesting has happened. Like the start of this book, I don't know if I've mentioned, they are being held underground by the apparat and like they have to escape. And it's like that was like that's the thing though, it wasn't exciting. It was just like a plot point that happened, and I I didn't really care about that much, and they ended up escaping, which was just kind of a given. And then they went and they met back up with Nikolai, which is stunning. We love Nikolai. And then they've been basically just like prepping for a war. Prepping and planning and getting ready for fighting against the Darkling, and like it's just not very interesting if I'm being entirely honest. And the thing is, I think in my last update I did say I wasn't very interested in everything that was happening, but like I was reading this and I was like, I'm pretty sure they like plan to go and attack the Darkling. But then there's it jokes, the Darkling comes and attacks them. Like currently they're all in this like big mountain. They're at the top of this huge mountain. Nikolai has like a weird secret space in the top of a mountain. And so they've all been like hiding out there, literally like everyone's there. And I'm pretty sure the Darkling comes in it. Like I thought that happened. Like I thought the Darkling came and attacked them. But I'm on chapter 11 and they're starting to leave the mountain. So I don't know if I just like remembered that bad, or if that just doesn't if it happens but it hasn't happened yet. But if it is going to happen, I would like for it to happen soon, because Christ, this is boring. And I kind of just want to like get this over and done with. So excuse my hair being in my face, I just showered. I think the plan, I'm just gonna like power through and finish this today, just because I kind of just want it to be over and done with. I don't know if I will have like many thoughts in terms of like wanting to update you guys about anything. If anything does happen that I think is worthy of an update, I will update you guys. But it's like nothing has really, like I'm not having any like wild emotions while reading this. I think in like I am aware that most of my updates while reading the other books have been mostly me complaining about Mal because he sucks and he is the worst. But like this has just been so consistently bad and so consistently boring. I just don't care. So I'm gonna just like finish this and I will give you guys my final thoughts on it once I'm done. I mean, like, I'm hoping I'll be a bit more objective with it. Like I'm not saying this is a bad book. It's not. I'm just really not in the mood for this kind of fantasy, and I'm pretty sure I remember how this ends, and I think I remember not liking the ending, but we'll talk about that once I get to it. That's the plan. Why is it actually so cold today? Oh my god. Hi besties. After a very long time, finally finished Ruin and Rising, finished my reread of the GRISHAVERSE series, the entirety of the GRISHAVERSE series. This definitely took a lot longer than I was anticipating, and definitely the Shadow and Bone trilogy was the one that really slowed me down. Before we get into the final thoughts of the series overall, final thoughts on Ruin and Rising. This book just sucked. Frankly, I really don't know how else to say this. I really did not like this much at all. Do I think this is like an objectively bad book? Like, no, absolutely not. I'm pretty sure my Goodreads review from when I read this the first time in like 2019, 2018, whenever, was pretty good. I think I really liked this ending, and I could definitely see how the first time reading this, like, I don't know if this happens for anyone else, but the first time when I read a book, generally, if it's like a finale for a series or something like that, I was just like excited to see how everything goes. Not saying that I could ever be disappointed the first time reading a book, absolutely I could, but I just feel like it's not like as likely to happen this time reading this. It was so insanely boring. The final big fight, the final big battle was so, it happened so quickly. Like, I don't know if I was reading particularly fast or something like that, but it went by so fast. I felt like it was so rushed. Like, the final battle was like a chapter, maybe 2 chapters, and I was expecting it to be a little bit more than that. It just kind of went by like very, very quickly. I will say I did almost cry when the Darkling dies. For anyone who didn't know, now you do. The Darkling dies at the end of this book, and I literally almost cried. Because like I knew that he died, but the whole like part leading up to his death, we see like at the end, it's so funny how quickly, right before the Darkling dies, Alina gets the 3rd amplifier, but like instead of making her powers stronger, it takes away her powers, and so like her light, her Grisha power of like summoning sun, summoning light, gets like given to just like random people. Forgot how that had worked, and that was just so disappointing. Like, what? Like, what? That was really stupid. I thought, I read that, I was like, that's dumb. But then you see the Darkling, he comes and he finds Alina, and he sees that she doesn't have any power, and instead of having this big like villain like haha I can kill you now moment, which I feel like a lot of people do villainize the Darkling like so much, like he's not like your classic aimless like he doesn't want to kill Alina. He really likes Alina, and he sees that she's lost her powers and he cries. He's like, oh my god, no, now I'm just alone. No one else is like me anymore. Like I don't know if I really want to get into it right now. I think I said I would, but I genuinely think I could do a whole video talking about the Darkling and how he is such a great character. But like seeing him cry over Alina losing her powers, and then that like moment of like weakness of his, then someone kills him. I can't remember who. Honestly, I don't care who. He dies, and having him die, he's so sad. And even Alina is sad that he dies. Well, I don't think she's really sad, but like she is by his side when he's dying, and he's like, please don't let people like, you know, please don't let people mock my death, like say my name one last time. He's just so alone. He is just such a great character in so many levels. He's got like he just comments on so much. I just think the Darkling easily is probably the best and most developed character in this series. Alina, I definitely think I liked her more this time around, like reading the whole series, than I did the first time. I definitely think I noticed a lot more like depth and wit to her character, whereas the first time I think she does very much give off 2012 YA protagonist vibes, where there's nothing really special about her. I definitely think, you know, if you read this where you were reading like the Hunger Games and all those big series, if you were reading it around those times, Alina probably wouldn't have stood out too much. I think Alina has some great character. I think it all disappears in this book. I think this book was just so terrible in terms of character developments for all of the characters except for the Darkling and except for Nikolai. Nikolai is probably like the second best character in this series, and he, oh my god, I almost cried as well in this book when some things happened to Nikolai, setting up for like King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. I think his story is really great in here. Like, he definitely shines. And I think it's sad that he didn't even, like, I would say he's better in this series than he is in, like, his series in the King of Scars duology, which kind of sucks. But, really enjoyed him. Really enjoyed the Duckling. Alina, I definitely liked reading her more this time around. I do just think it's, like, I think this series overall, I think its biggest downfall, like, I was trying to think of like everything I didn't like and like everything I was like, why don't I like this? Genuinely, I think it's because it is written in first person. This is all from Alina's point of view, and like, I'm not saying that Leigh Bardugo doesn't write first person very well, except I think that in the Six of Crows and the King of Scars duologies, her third person multiple point of view narratives are incredible and make for really well developed characters, really well like developed plots. This, not so much. And like, I don't know, like you would think first person narrative you would get at least one really great character, like the narrator, like Alina. You would think Alina would be great. She's not even that great. I just genuinely think the first person narration on this series is really what brought it down, at least for me. I think that's where most of my problems lie. And I mean, just like this book, I think my main issue was like everything that happened plot-wise was so incredibly boring. I just didn't really care for it. And again, like, I think I just wanted a little bit more excitement. It wasn't very exciting for a like third book in the series. I think I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I don't know what my original rating for this was, but so it might already be 3 stars, but like this time around, this is definitely just like a fine, solid 3-star read. Nothing special, nothing amazing. But I'm honestly just kind of glad that I have finished this. I don't think I will be rereading the Shadow and Bone trilogy again anytime soon. Like, anytime soon. I think that's enough. Reading it twice, I think that's enough for me. I think it's just like a solid, not my favorite. In terms of the other Leigh Bardugo books, Six of Crows, that duology will always be one of my favorites. My favorite series of all times. I cannot emphasize enough how badly you should go and pick this series up if you haven't already. It is incredible. I know that there are some people, I mean, obviously it's like objective taste, personal taste. You might not like it, but if like majority of what I've heard, everyone loves it. Everyone loves it because it really is just that good. I find it so ridiculous that every time I go to reread it, I'm always so nervous that I'm not going to love it as much, and then I do. I read it and it's just as great as I remember, if not even better. It is just so incredible. Please go read it. The King of Scars duology, which I talked about in my first vlog, we'll say it was disappointing, because I think it was disappointing. They were still solid reads. I really loved the characters that the duology like is based around, but plot wise wasn't that fantastic. I think there were a few things that just weren't as great as I was hoping for them to be. Overall though, still pretty fantastic. And like overall, I'm just really glad that I got to reread these books. Like, I know I was just like complaining about Ruin and Rising and like the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but this world is like one of my favorites. I love the GRISHAVERSE. I love it so much. It is probably one of my favorite like fictional universes ever. And like, absolutely, while a lot of that love is because of the Six of Crows series, I definitely think that this is really like, it does have some really great parts in it, the Shadow and Bone trilogy. It really does. And I think those parts really shine in the show. I really wanted to talk about the show in this vlog. I don't know if I will actually do this though. I don't know if I will actually have the time, but just in case you're wondering, I absolutely adore the Shadow and Bone show. The first season was incredible. I was really confused as to how they were going to mix the Shadow and Bone and the Six of Crows series together. They did it really well. For anyone who's wondering, they don't follow the plot of Six of Crows. They just took the Six of Crows characters and put them in to like the Shadow and Bone timeline, kind of like a little backstory for like Kaz and Jesper and Inej. I thought it was really, really great, and I think the show does a really great job of further developing all of the characters that I wish were more developed in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. Really, like, it gives you that like third person kind of perspective that I think that like I really wanted from the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So I know some people might not agree with me, but I genuinely think the Shadow and Bone show is better than the Shadow and Bone books. Episode 5 is definitely, I think, potentially my favorite. I really love episode 5. Episode 5 is very, very good. And I did really want to like go through and like watch the show, but I've watched it so many times. It's come out, I think I've watched it 3 or 4 times already, and I just like, I don't think I really need to go through. It's not like I can go through and show you guys my reactions, because I genuinely, it's like I've already watched it so many times, and I do think that just like, it's just great. Like, that's all you really need to know. My overall opinion is just that the show is incredible. Go watch the show. I would recommend watching the show even if you haven't like read the books. I mean, if you want to read the books first, then absolutely read the books first. But I mean, if you're worried about watching the show without having read the books first, I would say that's not really an issue. I would say just go for it and just watch the show, because it is fantastic on its own, which I think, I don't know, like, I just don't think you can really say that for a lot of adaptations. Like, it is a great adaptation, but it is also just a really great show in and of itself. But now that I've finished Ruin and Rising, I'm gonna wrap this vlog up here. I really didn't expect to have more than one vlog for this either, so I'm sorry. I hope you've enjoyed watching this whole like mini GRISHAVERSE vlog series, especially if you've watched all of them up to here. I really appreciate you if you have, but just in general, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you as always for watching my videos. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you guys in another video sometime soon. As always, bye.